A common thread that binds everyone together in society is the ability to read. This vast network allows for the interchanging of information, and this means those who read often become smarter. Despite this notion being common knowledge, a common trend in contemporary society is a shift in focus away from books and a reliance on the internet to obtain information. In the advent of newer technology, there are more pathways to become informed faster in the place of books. Understandably, there is a reason why people flock to technology in place of an old-fashioned hardcover. Society places priority on obtaining information as fast as possible. Time also continues to grow as a precious commodity as school, work, and social life take the spotlight. Faster information comes at the price of being less knowledgeable. Immediacy of information means missing the more finer aspects of learning, such as character analysis and an understanding of narrative structure. These aspects in books leave time for the reader to develop their own inferences and takeaways from a story. Information obtained through technology is asserted upon the reader. One can quickly learn a lot about the world simply by glancing through several headlines or skimming through a Wikipedia page. There is no learning taking place, only the immediacy of information. According to a study conducted by psychologists David Comerkid and Emmanuel Castaño from the New School for Social Information, reading improves one's ability to understand the more finer aspects of society and social relationships. Most surprisingly, this improved understanding is attributed to fiction reading. Immediate information does not promote a smarter individual. Taking a book and appreciating the information given is often the catalyst to developing a better mind. Senior Emily Leatherwood is especially fond of books and describes them as critical to defining her as a person starting from her childhood.
Growing up, I was a devourer of books. I've read them so much. That's where I gained a lot of my perspectives that I hold today. A lot of my personality was through these characters that I would fall in love with. So when I was younger and I didn't have my phone or Chromebook, any of those elements of technology that I have today, that was really the only way I could widen my perspective or learn things outside of school was through books. So that really had an impact on my life in that way.
Leatherwood has even done research on how the immediacy of information technology provides prevents deep thought. She believes that abusing technology for information has a negative impact on people.
I can actually cite you a source for that question because in a book written in 2013 entitled The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains by researcher Nicholas G. Carr, he states that he dissects the history of books and the printing press and all these things that have caused information to spread throughout the world. And he states that now with the internet, information might be at our fingertips and is super accessible and quick, but actually researching online where there's like hyperlinks on every word and pictures and diagrams and links to videos and all this multimedia stuff actually causes you to be distracted, because as soon as you see a link, your brain is like just is taken off track from what you were doing. And so people are actually physically losing the ability in their brains to do what we call like deep reading, to really delve into a text, to really analyze it, deeply read, deeply focus. So a big downside of using technology is the fact that we literally can't focus as much as we were able to or fully delve into a book as we were before, which is, I think, a monumental impact.
Junior Zachary McGrath places heavy emphasis on the importance of having a complex narrative, which is far more frequent in books than in online informative pieces. He feels that long stories contain details critical to learning.
Well, a lot of it gives you better narrative because using technology, there's a lot of shorter things, but reading a book gives you this nice descriptive narrative that you can follow through a series of books.
McGrath believes informative technology is lacking in emotional depth. He believes that the narrative is critical to developing better morals.
Books are able to teach you morals that a lot of technology can't, because technology can be from anywhere, but books, it's about one thing, and throughout the whole narrative of it talking about someone or something, it's able to teach you.
Senior Alexei Chekhanov feels that history is a field better understood through books. He feels that they paint a better portrait of reality.
Well, one way that books have changed my perspective and the way technology hasn't is that I sometimes read books that are from 100 years old, from the 1800s or something. So that's something that I don't really find in technology because it's so outdated. But reading books from so long ago broadens my horizons.
Chekhanov firmly believes that technology can be unreliable in recounting certain events with full accuracy.
Well, one downside for using technology is that you might not find viewpoints that correspond with viewpoints that people 100 years ago had. You might only find information that's up to date.
AP literature teacher Kirsten Thompson believes that the information found in books often have a more prolonged life than information found online. Books tend to stay longer with readers.
I just feel like you don't get the same texture, right? So I'm thinking even of my daughter's use of Snapchat, right? And how much she interacts with people on Snapchat, but the way that she interacts with people, right? A lot of times she's clicking as fast as she can to just take, as many pictures as she possibly can to, what do you call it? What do they have to meet on your Snapchats? Your streaks?
Streaks,
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about even that word streak, right? That word streak is running as fast as you can, possibly through this gauntlet of, I'm going to have a contact with you and contact with you and contact with you and contact with you, right? Where I'm not going to experience a book that way, right? I'm going to experience a book in a way that lets me linger, right? And I think sometimes I want that relationship that lingers, right? That's going to get awkward and uncomfortable sometimes, but also there's some real beauty in that awkward, uncomfortable experience, right? Because you're willing to be patient with me, you're willing to sit through the awkwardness, as opposed to the streaks where it's just this flashpoint. I don't know how much it's valued other than to just say I got my streaks done, that kind of thing.
Thompson finds that there are many faults in informative technology.
Yeah, so, I'm thinking about some of the books that have changed my life, right, and changed the way I view things. So Brothers Karamazov definitely was a novel that changed my life in the sense that I had a much better understanding of what it meant to serve others and why serving others is a really profound and difficult way to live your life, but ultimately one of the most important ways to live your life. I don't think I would learn that from technology. I also feel like another book that really changed my life is this a nonfiction book called Gay New York. I think, I didn't really understand the depth and complexity of what it meant to be gay or homosexual in the early parts of the United States, right? So 1800s. So I just feel like because of the dimension of what the authors were trying to show me or what they were trying to expose to me, I had greater understanding because of all of the dimension, right? Because I had all of the details and access to all of the details.
Not the factor in creating a smarter or more knowledgeable individual. Often, the journey in which one learns is more fundamental in promoting a smarter person. Books provide the means to walk this journey. Reporting from Downers Grove, this is Vincent Llanes with the Blueprint News Network.